The back tuck, as Garrett is showing here, which most people just call a backflip, is really impressive to see. It's far from the most difficult movement. Literally the move Garrett does immediately after takes more control and training, as well as everything else he seems to do on a daily basis. But arguably, the back tuck is a skilled movement, at least in part because landing on your head can be disastrous. And on that note, I am in no way suggesting anyone should attempt this, to be clear. Firstly, the point is to go more upwards than backwards. Because it's so quick, it's often missed that the arms swing rapidly up, or more technically, they do circumduction from low in front to high just beside the head, generally creating an upwards and slight backwards momentum. It's mostly upwards because you need the air time for full rotation of the body. More backwards motion would actually make it harder to get the legs over the head. With the arms, the legs are going into extension, that's knee and hip extension, and pushing off with the feet is plantar flexion. Once fully extended and upward momentum has been achieved, it's at this point that the upper body can be used to pull the legs up, because now we need to pull those legs up and over the head. Going back to the arms, what they've done by being thrown forcefully up is created a point to rotate around. This is approximately at the shoulder, though it does shift down a little to the thorax by the end of the tuck. And it is particularly interesting because it's an entirely movement or momentum-based rotational point. It has no actual fixation for the body to rotate around. The legs pushing off with the toes is important, but it's not as though that alone will be enough to flip the body upside down. Again, the body has upwards and slightly backwards momentum, and the arm, head, and upper body weight being above the rotational point and moving backwards will tend to flip the body around and down, a counterweight to the lower body. So at this point, the thorax is the base to pull up the pelvis through the abdominal muscles, rounding or flexing through the thorax and lumbar regions. We can pull on the legs through the quads, and the hamstrings will bend the knees. In an interesting turn of events, pun intended, the muscular force added to the bending of the legs has given them their own momentum, and they are now pulling the head underneath and around. The knees are then grabbed to complete the tuck position, and this grab creates just a bit more of that spin needed, as well as setting the feet underneath the body, ready for the ground. And a pretty good landing. In fact, landing only a short distance from takeoff. Again, it's more up than back. Again, don't try and do this yourself.